we are given a statement that reads as follows. A florist uses a plastic cylindrical vase for a floral arrangement. She fills the vase with water. Her friend wants to use the following formula to calculate the radius of the vase. Volume equals to pi r squared h. So the formula is basically given as V equals to pi r squared multiplied by the height. Okay. Now the question says that we need to make r the subject of the formula. Now how do we do that? Very easy. All we need to do is to manipulate the given formula right over here. So as you can see, we have V, which is the volume, equals to pi r squared h. Now we can just manipulate the variables just like this, and this is still the same as this. All I did is just change the sequence of the variables, and that's all. So what do I do now? I need to divide both sides by pi multiplied by height. Divide by pi multiplied by height. This would of course cancel out, and what we'll be left with is r squared equals to V divided by pi multiplied by height. But remember, we are not looking for r squared, but we are looking for r. Okay, we need to make r the subject of the formula. So what do? We move this square to the other side. So it will be r equals to the square root of V divided by pi multiplied by height. And just like that, guys, we have made r our subject of the formula. See how easy this is, guys? Beautiful. So let us go through the second question to see what they require from us. Okay, so just from the statement, guys, this is the visual representation of the diagrams of what we are told right over here. So you can see that we have our cylinder right over here, which is filled with the water. And we know that, of course, a circle has a radius, right? And we know that the radius, two radii makes up a diameter of the circle. So let's go through the second question to see so here they are saying that hence or otherwise determine the diameter of the vase in milliliters if the capacity is 4,334 liters and the height equals to 28 centimeters. And we are also told that we're also given a hint here that 1,000 cubic centimeters equals 1 liter. All right. So let us note down what we are actually given here. So the diameter is what we are looking for, okay? And what we already know is the formula of the radius. So it is given by V, which is the capacity, of course, divided by pi multiplied by height. Okay, so this is the formula for the radius. And what else are we given? We are given the height as 28 centimeters. What else are we given? We are given the capacity, which is the volume. All right, the volume, we are told that it equals to, or it is equivalent to 4,434 liters. Okay, and our beautiful hint here is that 1,000 cubic centimeters equals to 1 liter. All right, this is our volume or our capacity. So this basically means if we have 4,434 cubic centimeters, this can be equivalent to 4,434 liters. Easy as that. All right, so that basically means that here we can still say 4,434 cubic centimeters. That is our volume. Okay, now we need to determine the diameter. How would we do that? We first need to determine the radius. How do we determine the radius? Very easy. We just substitute the values in which we are given and do the basic calculations. So we're going to have R equals to our volume, which we have identified to be 4,434 liters, right? Which is equivalent to 4,434 cubic centimeters. So we just substitute the numerical, which is 4,434. Then we divide it by pi multiplied by the height, which is given as 28 centimeters. And if you punch your calculator, you'll find that our our radius here is given as 7.09, and if you were to round this off, 0.99 and other numbers, and if you were to round this off to 2 decimal places, you would find that it is 7.10. All right, and this is in centimeters. Okay, so this is our radius, but this is not what we are looking for. What we are looking for is the diameter. But remember, the diameter, we want it in millimeters. And what do we have here? We have the radius as the centimeters. So what do? We need to convert the centimeters into millimeters. How do we do that? Very easy. We know that 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10 millimeters, right? So that means if we have 7.10 centimeters and we want to convert this to millimeters, we just multiply this by 10, and this will give you 71 millimeters. All right, 10 multiply 7.10 multiplied by 10, or rather 7.1 multiplied by 10, that will give you 71 millimeters. All right, now remember, this is still the radius. What we are looking for is the diameter, and we know that the diameter is 2 times the radius, right? So that means if we are to determine the diameter, then we would say 2 multiplied by the radius, which in this case it would be 2 multiplied by 71, right? And this will give you 142 millimeters. All right, and that is our diameter. And easy as that, guys, we have backed up 4 marks in the back. All right, 4 marks in the back, just like that. And until we meet again, good people, like we always do, stay blessed.